few weeks ago, I happened to see a really interesting poker hand, and it wasn't a hand that I was involved in, but it was probably one of the more entertaining ones that I've seen in a long time. It happened on the Hustle Casino live stream, and it was in the 5-5 with a $50 ante game. If you've never seen any of these special 5-5 ante games, just know that they're nothing like your typical 5-5 game at your local card room. It plays more like a big 25-50 game, and with the particular group of guys playing in these games, it creates the sickest action ever. Not to mention, there's some of the greatest table talk after the hand is over. Let's take a look.
9-6 suited, Queen 8 offsuit.
Chris, what's going on?
Premiums.
Yeah. Ace 4 offsuit. Nick just called.
5 players.
Oh man. If Ludacris holds, he's gonna stack Nick.
So Chris raises with a 6-9 of hearts and somehow flops the second nuts. Nobody else has much except for Nick, who flops bottom set. Let's see what happens.
Ludacris flops straight. I guess you could be concerned a little bit about Jack 9.
Where is it? 2,500.
I'm calling.
Okay.
Oh, ugly card for Nick.
With people at home right now.
Luda's gonna bet.
Check the sportsbook.
Nick might stuff it on him.
Giving points on this hand.
Both players are very deep here with about 35k back, so the hand is definitely not black and white, and there's a ton of different ways for both of them to play this here.
44.50.
Uh-oh.
Ruh-roh.
He's looking back at his stack for more chips.
Ruh-roh. No, 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 no. Oh boy.
This is not as easy as it seems for Ludacris because
No, I know.
thinking Jack 9. This looks like he's thinking about folding. He's folding.
Obviously, Nick dodges a big loss here and accidentally bluffs Chris off the hand.
Wow, you cooled the shit out of me again.
No.
Why? What'd you have?
I needed a jack to chop.
That look by Nick was like, okay, buddy.
So when the hand is over, both players are certain that they made the correct decision. Chris just puts Nick on the nuts every time, while Nick thinks that against Chris here, his hand was the nuts.
You always flop the
You have
nuts.
9s? Is that what you're trying to tell me?
I know you have jack 9, it doesn't matter. If you didn't have jack 9 there, I will lose my mind.
Because of these different levels, combined with the incomplete information everyone has, and then combine that with the history you have built up with that player, it just creates these weird gray areas that allow for interesting hands like this to happen.
I was so certain I had finally gotten you, but I was like, nah, of course not. Of course not.
Ouch.
Yeah, I thought maybe you could have, like, you know, I don't know if you had a pair of 8s there or 10s or who knows, man. I don't know. What the fuck do I know?
Yeah, 3 10s were good there. Yeah.
They were.
Oh, you really put me on Jack 9.
Now, did either player play their hand incorrectly? Am I really qualified to say when I'm not the one in the hand? And is the theoretical approach here always the correct play? It's obviously way easier for us to criticize when we can see the whole cards. Much harder for them to figure out what's going on in real time. A part of poker is still always going to be quite subjective. Their decisions that they each made were a result of how they perceived their opponent in that given moment. The way that Nick decides to play his hand here probably would have been different against a different opponent.
I thought you had a set, maybe.
What did you really
You had a set?
I thought you would.
Oh, you think I have a set?
Can we get the water?
Yeah.
This is the main reason why I love Deepstack No Limit. It's this constant process of trying to interpret what your opponent is doing that keeps the game interesting for me. If the players here, for example, are only 100 big blinds deep or less, the money just gets in. But because they're much deeper, their decisions become much more complex and they have to consider a lot of other factors. I hope you guys enjoy this hand as much as I have and can appreciate the different layers of decision making involved in Deepstack No Limit. Feel free to share your thoughts on the hand below, and thanks for watching.
You didn't have shit.
You're gonna be pretty upset.
You didn't have shit.
Cards?
You had 9s.
Yeah, nothing.
You had 9s maybe.